Hey warriors, listen carefully, because this isn't philosophy for comfort, this is philosophy for freedom. Right now, whether you admit it or not, there is something or someone you believe controls your inner state. A person who hurt you, a past failure, a betrayal, an unfair system, a bad childhood, and every time you feel anger, resentment, or heaviness, you point outward and say, "This is why." The Stoics would interrupt you immediately. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, not gently but urgently, that the mind becomes enslaved the moment it hands authority to anything outside itself. Epictetus was even clearer. No one has power over your inner life unless you give it to them. This video is not about denial, it's about ownership. Because responsibility is not punishment, it is the door to control. If you stay, it's because part of you is tired of carrying resentment that solves nothing. Every few minutes I'll remind you why you're still watching, because blaming feels justified, but it keeps you stuck. This is the line where that ends. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's begin. Number 1. Nothing controls the mind without permission. Marcus Aurelius wrote a sentence that most people read but never accept. You have power over your mind, not outside events. This is not metaphor, it is instruction. No insult, betrayal, loss, or memory enters your inner world with authority. It enters as raw input, and the judgment you attach is what creates suffering. Seneca warned that we are harmed more by our interpretations than by reality itself, and Epictetus stripped it down further. If someone angers you, it is because you decided their action had the right to disturb you. This rule is confronting because it removes the comfort of blame, but it also removes helplessness. Daily application is brutal and freeing. When emotion rises, ask, what judgment am I adding right now? Not who caused it, what meaning you assigned. You're still watching because you noticed that the same events hurt some people deeply and others not at all. Next, we expose why resentment survives only when responsibility is avoided. Number 2. Resentment is delegated power. Resentment feels like strength, but it is deferred control. When you resent someone, you are saying, "You still govern my inner world." Seneca called this the longest form of anger, one that stays alive because it refuses resolution. Marcus reminded himself that carrying resentment is like holding onto a hot coal and expecting the other person to feel burned. Modern psychology echoes this truth. Carl Rogers argued that emotional freedom begins when responsibility for feelings shifts inward. The Stoic does not deny injustice, he denies its right to live rent-free in his mind. Daily practice is simple but uncomfortable. Each time resentment appears, identify what power you are handing over, then take it back by choosing a different response. You're still watching because resentment has exhausted you more than the original injury ever did. Next, we confront the lie that responsibility means self-blame. Number 3. Responsibility is not self-blame, it is self-command. Most people resist Stoicism because they confuse responsibility with guilt. The Stoics rejected this completely. Marcus Aurelius never shamed himself, he corrected himself. Epictetus never said, "You caused the event, only you control your response." Responsibility does not mean pretending the wound didn't happen. It means refusing to let the wound dictate the present. Winston Churchill did not blame himself for the chaos of war, but he took full responsibility for his inner steadiness under it. Robert H. Schuller later echoed this idea. When you take responsibility, you expand your capacity instead of shrinking under accusation. Daily application means separating cause from command. Acknowledge what happened, then decide who governs your reaction now. You're still watching because you want strength without self-hatred. Next, we dismantle the belief that the past still has authority. Number 4, the past has no jurisdiction over the present mind. The Stoics treated the past like a closed court. No appeals, no ongoing trials. Marcus wrote that the mind suffers only when it drags old judgments into the present moment. Epictetus warned that replaying injury is a choice disguised as memory. The past cannot reach into now unless you invite it through repetition and rumination. Carl Rogers observed that healing begins when experience is integrated, not relived. Stoic responsibility means this: what happened shaped you, but it does not command you. Daily practice requires discipline. When the past resurfaces emotionally, name it as memory, not reality, then redirect attention to present action. You're still watching because you've noticed how often the past steals energy from today. Next, we expose why blaming circumstances feels logical, but quietly destroys agency. Number 5. Blame shrinks the locus of control until nothing is left. Every time you blame circumstances, people, systems, or fate for your inner state, your locus of control shrinks. Epictetus warned that those who place happiness outside themselves will always live defensively. Marcus reminded himself that external events are neutral, only the mind makes them heavy. Blame feels rational because it explains pain, but explanation without ownership leads nowhere. Churchill understood this deeply. He acknowledged conditions without surrendering resolve. Responsibility restores agency by drawing a clear boundary. Events shape conditions, but judgment shapes experience. Daily application is relentless. Replace the sentence, "This ruined my mood," with "I allowed this to disturb me." Not as punishment, but as reclamation. You're still watching because something in you recognizes that blame has never once produced freedom. Next, we confront the most dangerous belief of all, the idea that emotions are uncontrollable. Number 6. Emotions are automatic. Suffering is optional. The Stoics never claimed you could stop emotions from appearing, they claimed you could stop obeying them. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the first emotional impression is involuntary, but the second, agreement, is chosen. Epictetus made this distinction central. You cannot prevent the knock at the door, but you decide whether to invite the emotion inside and let it rearrange the furniture. Modern psychology supports this. Carl Rogers noted that emotions lose destructive power when they are observed, rather than fuse with identity. Stoic responsibility begins here. You feel anger, fear, sadness, but you do not become them. Daily application is precise. When emotion arises, do not ask how to eliminate it. Ask how to respond without surrender. You're still watching because you've mistaken intensity for inevitability. Next, we expose why people cling to emotional chaos even when it hurts them. Number 7. Victimhood feels protective but destroys freedom. Victimhood offers emotional shelter, but at a devastating cost. It transfers authorship of your inner life to someone else. Seneca warned that those who define themselves by injury remain permanently tied to the injurer. Marcus wrote that self-pity is simply judgment turned inward without discipline. The Stoic does not deny suffering, he refuses to build identity around it. Winston Churchill acknowledged catastrophe without adopting victimhood. He spoke of resolve, not grievance. Daily application requires honesty. When you describe yourself, notice whether your story centers on what was done to you or what you are choosing now. You're still watching because part of you is tired of defining yourself by wounds. Next, we confront why control over the inner state is the foundation of real strength. Number 8. Inner control is the only power that cannot be taken. Everything external, status, health, reputation, security, can be stripped away. The Stoics built their philosophy on what remains. Epictetus called control over judgment the final fortress. Marcus treated it as the core of dignity. When you accept responsibility for your inner state, no one can truly defeat you, because no one can force despair, bitterness, or fear into your mind without consent. Robert H. Schuller later framed this in modern language. When you control response, circumstances lose their leverage. Daily practice is grounding and demanding. Before reacting, remind yourself that your inner state is your last and strongest possession. You're still watching because you sense that real power doesn't come from control over others. Next, we reveal why responsibility accelerates healing instead of delaying it. Number 9. Healing begins the moment responsibility is accepted. Most people believe healing requires time, apology, or closure. The Stoics disagreed. Seneca argued that suffering ends not when circumstances change, but when judgment does. Marcus reminded himself that peace is available immediately when the mind stops resisting reality. Responsibility does not erase pain, but it stops pain from multiplying. Carl Rogers observed that growth begins when the individual stops waiting to be fixed by the outside world. Daily application is decisive. Stop asking what must happen for you to feel better and start asking what judgment you can release right now. You're still watching because waiting has cost you more time than action ever could. Next, we arrive at the final rule, the one most people refuse to accept. Number 10. No one is coming to save your inner world. This is the Stoic truth that ends all excuses. Marcus Aurelius never waited for rescue, he corrected himself daily. Epictetus told his students that freedom begins when you stop expecting others to manage your inner life. Responsibility is uncomfortable because it leaves no one to blame, but it is also immediate liberation. Winston Churchill understood this under extreme pressure. Morale does not arrive from outside, it is generated internally. Daily application is stark and empowering. Each morning, remind yourself that no person, apology, or event will arrive to grant peace. Peace is practiced. You're still watching because you know this is true, and because avoiding it has kept you stalled. Conclusion, calm authority, final urgency. You are responsible for your inner state, not because life is fair, but because this is where freedom lives. The Stoics did not teach control to make life smaller. They taught it to make life unbreakable. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire by first ruling his judgments. Seneca warned that unchecked emotion enslaves even the intelligent. Epictetus made it undeniable. If you surrender your inner state, you surrender everything that matters. Responsibility is not harsh. It is precise. It removes blame. It removes resentment. It removes waiting. Apply this daily, quietly, relentlessly. Notice the judgment. Interrupt it. Choose again. This is not motivation. This is training. And if you live this way, you will discover the Stoic paradox. The moment you stop demanding control from the world, you gain control of yourself. That is not emotional suppression. That is freedom.